In the verses 35 to 57 of Surah Yusuf, Allah narrates further. Even though Yusuf's innocence had become clear, the people still decided to imprison him for a period of time, mainly to avoid scandal and silence the issue. While in prison, 2 young men were also imprisoned with him. One of them said that he had seen a dream in which he was pressing grapes to make wine, while the other said he had seen himself carrying bread on his head and birds were eating from it. They asked Yusuf to explain their dreams because they saw that he was a righteous and good person. Before interpreting their dreams, Yusuf used the opportunity to teach them about the truth of faith. He told them that the knowledge he had came from Allah and explained that he had abandoned the religion of people who did not believe in Allah or the hereafter. Instead, he followed the faith of his forefathers Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub, which was the worship of one God without associating partners with him. Yusuf explained that worshipping many gods is false because those so-called gods are only names people invented, without any authority from Allah. He emphasized that judgment belongs only to Allah, and that the true religion is to worship Him alone, though many people fail to understand this. After explaining the message of monotheism, Yusuf interpreted their dreams. He told them that one of them would be released and would serve wine to his king again, while the other would be crucified, and birds would eat from his head. Yusuf said that the matter was already decided. Then he asked the one who would be freed to mention him to the king, hoping he might help secure his release. However, Satan caused the man to forget, and because of this, Yusuf remained in prison for several more years. Later, the king of Egypt had a troubling dream. He saw 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 thin cows, and 7 green ears of grain along with 7 dry ones. He asked his advisors to explain the dream, but they said it was only a confused dream, and that they did not know its meaning. At that moment, the former prisoner who had been released finally remembered Yusuf and told the king that someone in prison could interpret the dream. He went to Yusuf and asked him to explain the meaning. Yusuf explained that the dream meant there would be 7 years of abundant harvest, during which people should continue farming and store most of the grain while leaving it in the ears for preservation, except for a small amount to eat. After that would come 7 years of severe famine, which would consume the stored food except what was carefully saved. Then, after those difficult years, a year would come in which rain would return and people would again have plenty, including pressing grapes and producing goods. When the king heard this interpretation, he ordered that Yusuf be brought to him. However, Yusuf refused to leave prison immediately, and instead asked that the king investigate the case of the women who had cut their hands, because Allah knew the truth of what had happened. The king questioned the women, and they admitted that they had seen no wrongdoing from Yusuf. At that point, the chief's wife openly confessed that she had tried to seduce him, and that Yusuf had been truthful. Through this investigation, Yusuf's complete innocence and honesty were publicly proven. The woman also acknowledged that human beings are naturally inclined toward wrongdoing, unless Allah shows mercy. After this truth was established, the king ordered that Yusuf be brought to him. When he spoke with Yusuf, he recognized his intelligence and integrity, and told him that he would now hold a position of honor and trust. Yusuf then requested to be placed in charge of the treasures and storehouses of the land, explaining that he was trustworthy and knowledgeable in managing them. Allah thus granted Yusuf authority and position in Egypt, allowing him to act freely in the land. This showed how Allah's plan had unfolded. The boy who was once thrown into a well and sold as a slave was now given power and respect. Allah grants His mercy to whom He wills, and He never wastes the reward of those who do good. Finally, Allah reminds that the reward in the hereafter is far greater for those who believe and remain mindful of Him.